Thank you. Right, how are you? Oh, he left. There you are.
I think you know that I have trouble sitting in one place.
Yeah, I know it exactly. Okie dokie, we are going to call to order this Executive Committee meeting of the Destination Medical Center Corporation. Welcome, everybody. I will do a quick call of the roll. Mayor Ryback.
Here.
Mayor Brady.
Here.
Commissioner Beer. I haven't had a lot of sleep the last week, so.
I can understand that.
And I am.
What have you been doing, Pete?
I know it. I am, in fact, here. Thank you very much for joining us, Mayor Brady, at the Executive Committee. We have colleagues, a very simple and straightforward agenda today. I welcome you to, of course, ask and answered any questions you have. We're going to approve the minutes. Then we've got to review and approve the V.DMCC audit. Then we have a request from the EDA for trademark authorization, and Lisa will take us through that. And then if there are any other items anyone wants to bring up in terms of updates, we'll do that and we'll adjourn. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
The agenda is in fact approved. We also have our minutes from our last and first executive board meeting, which is on March 23rd. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll
Second.
Mayor Ryback seconds. Is there any questions or discussion of the meeting minutes? Seeing none, no. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. We then have the DMCC audit for the year ending December 31st, 2016, and I think Craig Popenhagen is here. Welcome. How are you? Thank you, Kathleen, for all of your work also on making this come together.
I'm good. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Do you have maybe just a few comments about this, and then we can have any questions answered that we all
Certainly.
have? Thank you.
I've got kind of the high points just summarized on the presentation here, and I'll walk through that. Overall, the audit went very well. So basically our agendas will touch on just some financial statement highlights, audit results, and just a few required communications. All of the financial statements and the governance letter were included in the board packet, so that's been out for a few days now and available for everyone. The financial statements for the DMCC are prepared under government accounting standards. That's been the kind of the way we've done it from the very start. It's been under government accounting standards. It's a single program entity which has meaning under governmental accounting standards. So basically, we list out basically what the expenditures are that are running through, rather than kind of program related, as you might see in the city or a county financial statement. The DMCC is a component unit of the City of Rochester, so the DMCC financial information does get included in the City of Rochester's audited statements as well. Those are audited by other auditors, but our numbers get rolled up in there. Just kind of how this works is the DMC.EDA, however, is not a component unit of DMCC, so they have their own separate audit. They are an autonomous body. They have their own board, set their own budget, what have you. So that is kind of how this is working. And financial statements, pretty simple, honestly. For the DMCC, our revenue recognition is basically on a cost reimbursement basis, and kind of at a higher level, the DMCC basically is a flow-through entity. So all of the activity, well, I shouldn't say all of it, but most of it that's running through the DMCC's financial statements actually starts with the DMC.EDA, and it gets packaged up. Their cost reimbursements from the EDA get packaged up in the form of maps and submitted to the DMCC, then ultimately on to the City of Rochester for reimbursement. So with the flow through of activities, basically your assets and liabilities are equal, and no residual equity residing at the DMCC. The kind of the change in the balances here from one year to the next really depend on the level of activity running through the statements, as well as kind of the timing of when the reimbursement requests are made and when they are in fact reimbursed back to the EDA. Similar thing with the revenues and expenditures on the DMCC statements. Being a flow-through entity, the revenues and expenditures do equal, and again, no residual net income or fund balance or equity residing at the DMCC. Audit results, we issued a clean opinion on the financial statements. We had no internal control findings and no Minnesota legal compliance findings either. And the Minnesota legal compliance is basically just a set of work programs that the State Auditor's Office publishes and updates on an annual basis, and just has some specific statutes that we have to test for compliance. So again, clean bill of health there. The required communications, this was a separate letter. It was included in the board packet, but basically the audit provides reasonable but not absolute assurance. So What that means is we don't look at every single transaction that goes through the financial statements, but we look at a good percentage of them. Accounting policies are described in Note 1 of the financials. There were no changes from the previous year. With the clean reports that we have, obviously there was no audit adjustments, and we had very good cooperation, again, working with all of the parties involved. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and very good coordination between the different entities involved. So that is very good. Next steps for the DMCC will be to complete the federal and state informational returns, the IRS Form 990, specifically for the DMCC. Due date extensions have been filed, and I do have a placeholder on my calendar, I believe in late July, to come back with the draft Form 990 for your consideration at that time. So that is what I have for prepared remarks. Thank you for allowing us to be of service, and I'll open it up for any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Popenhagen. And let me turn to Commissioner Beard, who is our, I can barely speak, who is our treasurer. And just, I know you had conducted an exit interview. If there's anything that you'd like to add or comments you'd like to make.
No, I think they've done an excellent job, and it really, when you come down to it, it's money in, money out. So I mean, there's not a lot of there's a lot of moving parts with the whole system, but I mean, as far as the financials, it's money in, money out. So it's pretty clean. I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Good.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Mr. Popenhagen? All right.
I'd move approval of the audit.
All right. Is there a second?
Second?
All righty. Any further discussion on the audit? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is approved. And the last item on our agenda is the request for trademark authorization. And welcome, Ms. Clark. You can tell us about this.
Madam Chair, members of the Executive Committee, thank you for the invitation. I also want to introduce Tim Cody. I don't know if you've met him officially, but Tim is our Director of Finance for the DMC-EDA. He's been involved in this process, so I'll have him quickly go through the process. But just in a nutshell, we're working very hard, as you know, to make sure that Discovery Square, as Discovery Square comes about, that we're doing this in a successful manner. Part of that, we believe, is the importance of trademark for Discovery Square. So doing this, we will manage Discovery Square by protecting its brand and protecting its image so that it's in concert with the DMC plan. And the name really should be reflective of one entity, not multiple entities, which is the DMC. So that's really the reason why we're making sure that we are protecting Discovery Square. Tim walked us through a process with Dorsey, a law firm that we worked with to actually work through this process. I'll have Tim give you just a high-level intro about the process that we went through for this trademark.
Great, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Thank you.
As Lisa said, as we started along this process, we had contacted Dorsey and some months ago, and what we have done is go through not a quick process by any means, but a lot of correspondence, communication, discussions, et cetera, on what we really needed to focus on with their guidance and how we would go about achieving these, reviewing the business classifications in depth to find little areas that may or may not be advantageous for us to pursue trademarking. With that, we settled on the business classes, as stated in the memo, that would be sufficient and would be applicable and beneficial to protect the trademark Discovery Square. And at that point, we asked Dorsey to start to prepare all the applications that we would be able to, with all the input, would be able to go ahead and have them signed and then pursue the trademarking process from there. And we're at this point, we're at that point to where recommendations, the research has been done. We're confident that pursuing this strategy is going to be beneficial for Discovery Square.
Members, are there any questions?
Madam Chair,
Yeah, Mayor Ryback.
I believe this is something we should do right away, and I'd like to move that we give them the authorization to do that if they in fact need that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Okay, are there any questions or comments about this? I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Can you explain to us why this trademark should be taken out by the DMCC rather than the EDA or Mayo Clinic or any other entity?
Well, our advice, it was given to us, was that DMCC will own it, so it would have to come from the DMCC board, an authorized signatory of the board,
Okay,
and that's what we pursued.
okay. And then also on this document, I think what you do when you pursue a brand like this is that you pursue it for specific classifications of businesses or activities, is that
Yes.
right?
That is correct.
Can you just go and give us a little bit of detail about what these classifications are?
In general, what they consist of, in general, is things that might be going on in Discovery Square, such as research, also items that, innovations that might come out of there. And things, those are good things that we want to protect from Discovery Square. The other things that we want to prohibit is the flagrant use of the name Discovery Square. Someone could set up a coffee shop, Discovery Square Coffee. We don't want that to happen to minimize the brand of Discovery Square, since this is a worldwide initiative. And other things that we looked at that, although we could pursue trademarking, they, for one reason or other, may cast not a good light on Discovery Square, different business classifications. And so all that was taken into account when we decided on these 7 business classes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Mayor Brady?
I'm going to ask this or comment out of total ignorance of all of this. So where Disney has Discovery Bay, so they can't use Discovery Square.
Correct.
Good.
Good example,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
that's right.
All right. Any other questions? All right. All those so let's see, we have let's just be clear about, maybe Kathleen, can you just be clear about what it is that we're doing here? We are agreeing to sign to take out the, yeah.
Madam Chair, upon the recommendation of the EDA, the motion would be to authorize that the DMCC approves and authorizes a signer from the DMCC board for these applications.
Do we need to designate that signer right now, or?
Actually, Madam Chair, Commissioner Beer, all of the DMCC members have authority to sign. And so if you want to designate somebody, you certainly could.
No, that's fine, I just didn't
Okay.
understand.
Thank you very much. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 That motion carries.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate your work on this. I know you guys have worked hard to get this put together. Appreciate it. Are there any other questions or comments? Cantankerous remarks?
You probably have something else to do, don't you? I motion to adjourn.
There, second? I don't even know if we need a second. All right, thank you. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
I want to ask RT a question before he leaves, though.
Hey there.
This Saturday, I'll do my first wedding as a mayor. And you did a lot of them, so you got any words?